This play is going to make you some money today. This is the Daily Profit brought to you by Linemaker Sports. On today's show, we're going to go through one of the highest probability plays in the MLB. But before we get to that, I want to discuss the week in review and also what happened about 10 days ago that transitioned into this last week. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So about 10 days ago, we had a stretch of about 2 or 3 days where we lost about 3 or 4 units. Okay, we lost about 3 or 4 units in that stretch of 2 to 3 days. So this happens almost every single month, if not every other month, to where we have a couple rocky days and you lose some units. But this is where a lot of people fail completely because the emotions take over and they can't withstand those 2 or 3 days of being rocky. That's what happens. Okay, in sports betting, this happens. Like I said, almost every month, this happens. You have to be able to stick through it and push through it because when you have the right strategy in place, then you can trust the process and you can stay consistent with it and just keep going. The mistake that a lot of sports bettors make is when they go on a losing streak, they take a break. Now, the only time to take a break on a losing streak is when you don't have a strategy that is proven to win. If you don't have a strategy that's proven to win, yeah, you could just be losing and snowballing because you don't have the right strategy in place. So yes, you could take a break then. But when you have the right strategy in place, you do not take a break on a losing streak because like in the stock market, when a stock is heading down, what happens there? It heads down and then eventually it comes back up, right? So same thing applies here. When you have the right strategy in place, maybe you'll hit a bump in the road, but then staying consistent, you'll come right back out of that bump. Now, if you buy into the stock and your stock starts plummeting and then you sell down here, guess what? You took a loss. And that's just the way that it goes. So sports bettors, a lot of them don't see the similarities between that and the stock market, but they are the same when you're consistent with the right strategy. But you have to have the right process. If you don't have the right process, then you can't dig yourself out of it. You can't trust the process if you don't have one. So it's very, very important. Now, the reason why I'm explaining this is because over those 2 or 3 days, like I said, we ended up losing a decent amount of units, I would say, because you have to recover a lot. The way that we play, you have to hit 70% and above your plays. You have to. Most of the time, you have to. Okay. We have a couple plays here and there that are odds below the 70% threshold that you need to hit. But overall, you need to hit in a higher percentage. So when you're down 3 or 4 units, it's going to take a lot of work to recoup that. So a lot of people's mentality is like, oh, it's going to take me all month to recoup, when I just lost in 2 or 3 days. What they don't understand is that if you have the right strategy in place, you could dig yourself out within a week, which I'm about to just tell you guys exactly what happened this last week. So in this last week, what we ended up, coming across throughout everything, 70% above plays for the probabilities, they ended up going 28-6. All right, 28-6 over the last week. Plays that are 55% to 69% probability went 4-0, and the money lines, totals, and spreads went 4-0. And that's over the last week. So a total of 36-6. So not only do we dig ourselves back out of that hole of losing those units, but we then added onto our bankroll as well. That's what happens when you have the right strategy in place. If you have the right strategy in place, you can dig yourself out. And within, like I said, a week, now we're back into the profit margin again. But if you don't have the right strategy, you're going to continue to plummet. So if you guys want the right strategy and you want to be in the same side as me, make sure you guys click the link in the description because I teach this stuff and I show you guys this stuff. Okay? So make sure you guys do that. And if you guys are a part of the group, make sure you guys are throwing the comments in there from this last week of how we've been killing it because people need to know that that is how you win in sports betting. Okay? It's not about getting hot for a week. All right? It's about having the right strategy in place and staying consistent. If you don't have the right strategy in place and you're not staying consistent, you're going to lose in this game. That's the way it goes. And that's why when I tell people, when they try to divide, between betting the higher odds plays and a minus 110 play, when they're trying to do the minus 110 play strategy and win at 55% of the time, most of the time, this is their bankroll. It goes like this and slowly starts just going down and they bleed out, even with right bankroll management and everything, because there isn't a profitable strategy at minus 110 long term that's going to get you to win. Because if there was, then the sports books wouldn't be in business. People would be beating the sports books left and right. Okay. The strategy that I implement is a high probability strategy. So you hit in the high percentages, you always feel like you're winning, and then maybe you'll come across a day or two where you do lose some units here and there, but you recoup that stuff long term. To do this at a high level, to do this professionally or, to have a side income, full-time income, you have to have the right strategy in place and you have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, then guess what? Some people that took a break when we had a rocky couple of days, they missed out on, at one point, we won 15 straight games. So they could have missed out on that streak. And then now you're really in a hole because then you jump on after that and you have missed out on a huge area to get all of your money back. And this happens a lot with a lot of sports bettors, and I see it happen all the time. So make sure you're staying consistent with it. All right. If you are in our group, if you're a part of the gold membership, if you're a part of the silver membership, make sure you're staying consistent because consistent is key. You have to keep doing it over and over and over and over. Okay. You never want to hop on to when somebody's on a winning streak. All right. If I just go and mention that I won 15 straight games, that's not the time to start betting with me. Okay. If I lost 15 straight games, that's the time to jump on. Okay. You don't jump on while we're rising here. That's never how it goes. Okay. You don't jump on when you're rising. You have to jump on pretty much at the even pace or even a down slope because that is when it'll turn around for you. That's another thing that sports bettors get a mistake, and I see it in the industry a lot. Like people go and post like, I won 10 straight games, join my plays now. Guess what? You go and join your plays on that 10-game win streak that person did, guarantee you they're going to lose for that next week probably. And they probably don't have the right strategy in place to consistently dig you out of that. So that's how important it really is to stay consistent and to have the right strategy and the right processes in place. If you don't, you're just going to lose. You're going to lose long term. Everybody does. All right. Every single sports bettor that I have came across loses long term when they don't implement the strategy that I teach. And I'm just being honest. And from years upon years of experience. So let's go ahead and get into today's play now. So that way we can see if we can eke out another free play win, because I think we've hit a lot in a row for these free play picks. Today we're going to look at the LA Dodgers versus the Arizona Diamondbacks game. All right, we're going to look at the hitter matchup between Freddie Freeman against the Arizona pitcher. Let's group his last name. I like to call him Fats. All right, Freddie Freeman versus Fats. He's batting .333 against him. He should have at least 3 at bats against him, unless he ends up getting rocked and then he only gets, 2 at bats. But if he gets rocked, hopefully Freddie Freeman's in there to get involved in that. We're going to take Freddie Freeman to get at least 1 hit against the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight in tonight's matchup. He has a 70% probability for that prop to get it done. Now, yeah, that prop is probably going to be somewhere around the range of what I seen, -220 to -250. But with a 70% probability, we do have an edge in this matchup. And like I said, he bats .333 against him, so pretty decent shot for him to be able to get a hit, get it done for us tonight. He bats .371 on the season as well, so he's having a great season. We just need him to get 1 knock for us. He gets 1 hit, and guess what? We continue this free pick win streak as well that we have going on. And remember, guys, if you have an edge, then every bet becomes a winning opportunity. As always, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, I'm out.